ESPN, for joining us. Listening to Nico Moon will always put you in a good mood.
Oh, yeah.
Just feels
Always
like
good
you're in a
vibes.
tropical location.
I feel like I should have a Bahama Mama.
Right? Pina colada, Bahama Mama with a rum floater on top.
Yes.
You got that right. All right, time now for Taylor's Tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
I'm going to talk a little bit of baseball here.
I had a feeling. I almost said, I wonder if your tangent
little
is going to be
baseball
on
here.
hardball. I had a feeling that's what you were going to do.
Friday, 8 p.m., Dodgers versus Blue Jays. A lot of us going to be un-American for a week or two.
Here's what's funny. So I said the other day, I think if the Blue Jays end up winning, that most people will cheer for the Dodgers, like just because they don't want a Canadian team winning.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this that 92% of America's rooting for the Blue Jays. Over
People
the
don't want
Dodgers.
the
So
people
the
get
dynasty.
People get over dynasties. People get over the teams that pay they.
But the Blue Jays
within
do
a insane
too,
amount.
by the way.
Yeah,
They're top
but
five
the Dodgers
in
are just
general.
especially just this offseason, all of the contracts that they dealt out, and then you talk about like Shohei's where he just. All the weird things he did where they don't even really have to pay him that money right now. And there's a lot of people just don't like that stuff. But anyways, so that'll obviously World Series Game 1 Friday at 8. That's going to be exciting. But there's an interesting stat I read that I feel like could be a major factor in this series.
Okay.
And so at the plate this year, Toronto batters have a 17.8% strikeout rate, which is the lowest in the league, aka the best. They've struck out just 1,099 times. That's the second fewest in the league. On the mound, the Dodgers pitchers threw more strikeouts than any other team with 1,505, and their strikeout rate is 24.8%, which was the best in baseball. So you literally have the team that has struck out the least and has the best strikeout rate, the lowest but the best, and then the team whose pitchers have had the highest strikeout rate going against each other in the World Series. I think this is super fun. Obviously, there's other factors in this. If the Dodgers are scoring a lot of points, which, by the way, the Dodgers have I want to say it was theirs was 23rd in the league. They're not great. They strike out a decent amount, is pretty much is what it is. But they can hit a lot of home runs. They can do a lot of things that still have obviously got them to the World Series.
The Dodgers dig the long ball.
Yeah. But that'll just be fascinating to watch because I think that it reminded me of this quote, and I think I've read it on here before, but it's from this documentary called Fastball. It's one of my favorite documentaries. But in that, they say, there's a quote in it that says, the pitcher's mound is set precisely 60 feet and 6 inches from home plate. The game of baseball was set in perfect balance, a showing between the fastest it's humanly possible to throw a ball and the fastest it's humanly possible to react to it. And it made me think of that instantly. And obviously, this is more so like having an eye, and can you throw the strikes? And it doesn't matter how fast you throw a ball for, like you don't want to do that, those are some of the factors that go into it. But still, I think it could be a fun series watching a team who doesn't strike out a lot going against a team who strikes out a lot of people throughout the season. So fun little tidbit there to keep an eye on of how this series could possibly look. But it is funny that over 90% of the people
are
the Blue Jays
not rooting the United States team. The Dodgers, I saw this stat. The Dodgers swept the NLCS. We know that part. And the Blue Jays won in 7 games. This will be the 5th World Series matchup where one team swept the LCS and the other went the distance. The team that won in 7 went on to win the World Series in each previous instance. So again, this is the 5th time it's happened. So the previous 4 times that's happened,
Wow.
the team so in this case, the Blue Jays would win the World Series.
Let's go.
I know. It doesn't feel like that. Like, I feel like the Dodgers are unstoppable and unbeatable, but the Blue Jays do certainly have, like a Vlad Guerrero Jr., who I think if people haven't been watching baseball, they'll fall in love with him.
Yeah. And seeing the pictures of him, like, as a little kid out on the field, it's so cute. Those are the stories people love. They're kind of getting over. And, it's weird, though, too, because I think that if Shohei was on any other team, people would instantly just be wanting to cheer for Ohtani because it's like he's the best baseball player in Major League Baseball and since Babe Ruth. And so I do think that in a way, it almost kind of sucks he's on the Dodgers because so many people don't want the Dodgers to win because they're that team. But then it's like you're also like, man, but Shohei's so fun and he's so incredible and you're witnessing history when you're watching him. So you want to see Shohei strike out 10 and hit 3 home runs in another game, but do you? I don't know.
As long as the Dodgers lose, then yeah. So yeah, like you mentioned, the first game Friday night, 8 o'clock, and that one is in Toronto. It does not go to Los Angeles, and RJ's hometown until Monday night. So we will have Game 3 opposite Monday Night Football. It'll be interesting to see what the ratings are as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, which Toronto, by the way, is on my bucket list of places I want to go. Mainly, I want to see, I've heard this park is really, it's gorgeous in general. I've heard Toronto's a really cool city. That also the NHL Hall of Fame's in Toronto, too. Okay. So I feel like there's so many fun items I could check off in one trip with Toronto. Maybe one day I'll make that happen.
Yeah, I told you my friends went over the summer and sent me pictures from the ballpark. And they had an absolute blast. And the Monday Night Football game, by the way, Vikings at the Chargers. So Los Angeles and Los Angeles. They're both will be going on in LA.
What a wild time for that.
Monday night.
I feel like we had that at some, like earlier this season. It was like Philly. Oh yeah, because the World Series and the football game happened in Philly in
the
one
postseason. Yeah, for sure. All right, more to do on the other side, including Lauren's Lane. We're going to talk some college football. You are listening to Helmets and Heels. Oh wait, we have lunch to give away.
Oh, we do. Free lunch to Chick-fil-A. Give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 7. So give some Toronto some good luck with this. You get free lunch to Chick-fil-A today.
All right, it is 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Go! Your play-by-play home of Bulls Bulldogs football is 1010XL.
The 7-1 Bulldogs are fired up for senior night against the Wolfpack. Bulls Wolfson, Friday at 7 on 1010 AM.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick. We're a 4-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year and right now make over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost for the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org and you can apply there.
Apply by November 6th.
Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out as fast as possible, and you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they will show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule your free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Helmets and Heels, provided by Green Law Group.
San Jose Collision is hiring for an automotive detailer and porter. If you're detail-oriented, dependable, and love working with cars, apply in person at San Jose Collision in Mandarin. Valid driver's license required.
Get more Gators on the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. With new episodes every Friday. Subscribe and listen by searching for 1010XL's Gator Bites podcast wherever you find podcasts and at 1010XL.com.
Joe C. for Preferred Roofing, reminding you your roof is more than just felt and shingles. It's a system that not only keeps your home dry, but also impacts your heating and cooling bills. Preferred Roofing and Construction is a GAF Master Elite roofing contractor lauded for having the ability to educate and inform homeowners on their options. Why GAF and Preferred Roofing? They're veteran-owned and operated with ties to Duval for decades. A family business ready to make sure your family has a good roof over its head. Log on, preferredroofingjax.com.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Strap in, Duval. The Jaguars are gearing up to face the Los Angeles Chargers Sunday, November 16th for our annual Salute to Service game. Join us as we honor and celebrate the brave men and women of our military all game long. Secure your seats now and be a part of the action by visiting jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. Let's stand together, Duval.
Congrats to former Georgia defensive lineman Freddie Gilbert and running back Sony Michel's induction into the Georgia-Florida Hall of Fame, Friday, October 31st, presented by Miller Electric. To attend the luncheon ceremony, go to flgajax.com/Hall of Fame.
In a world where chains seem to take over, it's awesome to have a locally owned retailer who's only focused on Jacksonville. Beards Diamonds is the perfect example. Hicken here. All those jewelers in Town Center are owned by big Wall Street companies, but Beards Diamonds, they are local, man. Say hi to the Lupos when you get in there. They've been around and serving our area for more than 40 years. And Beards run circles around the big chains. Massive diamond inventory, Beards. All the top bridal brands, Beards. Strongest warranties, Beards. Beards wins on price every day. They don't have extra markups to please Wall Street or pay commission salespeople. In fact, Beards guarantees to beat any national chain store on price. So don't buy anywhere until you at least get a second opinion at Beards. I am sure you'll get a bigger, better quality diamond for your money, and it'll be backed by local folks with integrity and local accountability. Man, in a world where generic chain stores pop up everywhere, refreshing to see a local place that can give you a great diamond. Don't buy a diamond in Jacksonville without seeing your best option at Beards Diamonds. Shop local, shop Beards at the St. John's Town Center.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update brought to you by First Coast YMCA. Looking ahead to this weekend, 1010XL will be bringing you live on-air coverage of some high school football matchups. Starting on the FM, Bishop Kenny will take on Westside, and on the AM, Bulls takes on Wolfson, both games kicking off at 7. There's 2 weeks left of regular season play before playoffs begin on November 14th. It's 82 degrees at 3:02. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
I like my water with lemon and lime. That's because they're better combined.
Hey, Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus on vacation this week. The rest of this week, he'll be back with us on Monday. Let's get it to a little college football time now for Lauren's Lane.
Now, Lauren's Lane, driven by Mazda at the Avenues. This is luxury. This is Mazda at the Avenues.
So, Taylor Dahl, I was listening to the drill when they had Chris Doering on yesterday morning, and Hicken was basically like, well, obviously Florida's a better program than Ole Miss as far as the head coaching position. Mm-hmm. And Doering is like, not exactly. You know, it's not the way that it once was. Yeah. And we were kind of texting about this earlier today, and as far as recruiting and facilities and your past success used to be how you measured these college football jobs. And so in Alabama, certainly as of late, Georgia, and LSU, all of those schools are excellent elite football jobs because you're close to the players. Mm-hmm. You have a ton of past success, past championships, and also you have great facilities and you have resources to add to said facilities. But now with NIL, with players being able to get paid, and so you've got boosters, any booster can contribute to NIL. And then you've also got the transfer portal, and at least as of now, you can transfer as many times as you want to in college football. It's not a one time, you don't have to sit. So players, it's obviously a ton of player movement, the most we've ever seen. So now, is Ole Miss just as good of a head coaching job as Florida? Because obviously NIL is doing well, or Ole Miss, I should say, is doing well with the NIL. Lane Kiffin's gotten some elite football players. He is successful right now. They could potentially make the college football playoff this season. So he has whatever he wants. He's going to get paid whatever he wants. And as far as a new contract, if Ole Miss offers him that. So is it, Ole Miss has never been to an SEC championship or won it for that matter. But does that matter in the current landscape of college football?
Yeah, and I think that's going to be one of the most interesting storylines in the next decade of college football is how much that the playing field continues to even. We've already seen it a little bit start to level out, but does that continue if the college football playoff continues to expand? We've already talked about that next number to 16, and
thank you, by the way, that's how I feel.
Because I do think you're looking at this world. I mean, and I heard Hacker say this last night, and he was like, if you're not convinced yet that the college football landscape is changing, and you're seeing Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech right now ranked as high as they are, you're talking about Nick Saban saying, I don't want to go back and coach. Me and my wife are happy and having a great time. You're seeing teams be like, I don't want Urban Meyer to coach my football team.
By the way, throw Indiana in there too.
Indiana just got paid their head coach $93+ million. He named that one too. Yeah. That to me is all of the signs that you need to say things are changing, and teams now are starting to feel like we don't have to be a Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Ohio State.
Thanks
to
for putting us in there.
Because it was for a long time. It was
Alabama,
the Florida,
Notre Dame,
yes.
USC, Michigan, Penn State.
Yeah,
for the longest
those were the
time.
teams that you're like, those were the head coaching jobs that people wanted.
Right.
Those were where people felt like no matter what was going on, you were getting recruits. That's where there was all of these things that kind of led to people to be like, there's a handful of teams that can win the national championship, and here they are. That's starting to grow, and I think to me it's fun because just like we just talked about the dynasties when it comes to the Dodgers, people also get over the college football teams, the same teams winning all of the time. That's why I am pro expansion in the college football playoff, because I think it gives more teams more shots. And I think that part of getting students to your facilities right now, a lot of it is probably NIL and that name, image and likeness, and how much they can get, because I think that's kind of where we're starting to lead this path. Another thing is they want to win. These kids are still competitive. They want to have a shot at winning the national championship. And if you tell them that, okay, 16 teams get in, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Indiana, these schools are all getting in the college football playoff right now. You can start here or you can go sit on the bench at Alabama.
Yeah,
they're going to
Ohio
go play
State,
at a school
absolutely.
where they can start. And
And those schools, too, sorry to interrupt you, those schools, too, used to be the best path to the NFL.
Yeah.
NFL scouts, I mean, especially with today's technology, they're going to find, if you're talented, they're going to find you.
For sure. I mean, we're seeing kids now. We were just talking about one of the highest pass rushers, Mike Green, went to Marshall. We were talking about him a ton this last year. That's where we are. And with the scouting, I think availability and being able to have access to the schools that previously was way more difficult when you didn't have the video cameras and everything you have now. Back in the day, these guys had to travel everywhere. And so are you going to these rural areas in the middle of nowhere to try and find these kids? You probably don't have a shot at doing or seeing as much as you are able to see now. I also think, and this is a very small thing, but I was thinking about it last night too when Hacker was having this conversation, but when it comes to the NIL and what that does for the student too, a lot of people didn't want to go too far away from home because they were like, I don't have the money to get back home if I need to get back home. I don't have the money to fly my mom out to see me. Now they do. They have this money to be able to use to get their family to come see them at games. And a lot of these kids are coming from areas where they don't, like, you just don't have the money to barely, your mom can't pay her bills, let alone come see you play a game across the country. That's starting to get eliminated with student athletes being able to get paid now. So all of these things are just evening out this playing field. And I think it's really fun to watch personally. And I know other people, maybe Big Ten and SEC, don't love it as much because they were able to dominate for so long and it felt a little bit easy. And now other schools are like, wait, we're here and like we can do the same exact things that you're doing. But I personally think it's fun. And so I do think that when you talk about that Ole Miss Florida, I think there's something to it where it still leans a little Florida at this point in time because it's the Florida Gators. And I think when you talk about, it's been almost 20 years now since the national championship, but it's there and you still can talk about that. And you still have a lot of, when you talk about the NFL players that came out of Florida, there's still a long list of those that you're constantly wanting to talk about. And when you talk about the recruiting in Florida always being one of the better states of the amount of players in the NFL that come from Florida, massive. But Florida also is competing with Miami, and they're completing. I mean, Seminoles too are a team that you're going to. Now you have USF that are pulling some of these guys and saying, "Hey, we can make the college football playoff too. Don't overlook us." And so it's interesting. But how much does this continue that gap between a Florida and Ole Miss? How close are we going to see them? Is it going to be even in 5 years?
Well, and if it's all about the money, then as long as Ole Miss can pay their head football coach $12 million a year, the path of least resistance, if you're just talking about Florida or Ole Miss, it'd be Ole Miss because Florida has to play Georgia every single year, and they also have to play Florida State every single year, right? And so I understand that. Look, to your point, I still think Florida is a better football job based off of not just the history, but where the school is located. When you're in Mississippi, you don't have that easy access to the students, although recruiting is now much more nationwide than it ever was. But I think the recruits, that still matters. Like the transfer portal is, I think, good to help build your team, but look at Mike Norvell, look at other schools that they have that constant roster turnover.
Yeah.
It's not as sustainable. The success is not as sustainable as if they were to build the roster from recruiting. It's like, well, you talk about in the NFL. You want to build from the draft.
Yeah.
You don't want to build from free agency.
Yeah. At least for the long term.
Exactly. All right, we will keep it on college football when we return. Dahlia Fair is going to join us, and we're going to talk about a lawsuit that has already been settled. We will fill you in on that and a whole lot more. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Welcome to the bundle event. Entering now our undisputed tag team champions, the mid-size SUV and the mid-century modern. Together with a State Farm agent, this auto and home duo are a powerful force of savings, service, and customizable coverage. Now, let's get ready to bundle.
Call State Farm agent Brandon Thomas in St. Augustine at 904-342-3459.
Availability and amount of discounts and savings vary by state.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. By now, you know I love Hello Smooth Med Spa in St. John's. From laser hair removal to Botox, skin rejuvenation, and more. They are the go-to for all things skin health and beauty. And I'm so excited because their biggest event of the year is coming up Wednesday, November 19th. The event features their best sales of the year, plus it's an all-day party. There will be a local coffee cart, a DJ, and lots of other local vendors. Plus, the event benefits Make-A-Wish. It's the perfect time to grab a gift for a loved one or treat yourself. So trust me, mark your calendar for November 19th. I cannot wait to be there that day. Check out Hello Smooth Med Spa on social media or head to hellosmooth.com to get all the details.
Helmets and Heels.
Bought for you by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700, offices Jacksonville, Florida, and don't let the state decide your fate.
Frank Franzi here for Coyle Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember Morton Anderson missing a chip shot field goal that launched the Jags into the playoffs in '96? You know who doesn't miss? Coyle Fencing. Coyle has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida since 1927. Heck, Coyle has been installing fences since before Emery Bellard installed the wishbone offense. If you need a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle Fence today at 904-356-4821 or visit CoyleJacks.com. Coyle Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When someone excels in and out of the classroom, we should celebrate it.
That's why 1010XL brings you the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Wednesdays on The Franchi Show, tuned up by
The Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Don't ghost your carpet this fall. Hicken here. Right now, you can get your entire home zero resified from Jacksonville's Ultimate Carpet Cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 plus a free haul for Halloween. Get it? There's something scarier than ghosts and goblins hiding in your home. It's in your air ducts. This month, take 50% off your air duct and dryer vent cleaning. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResJacksonville.com. Ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spelled backwards or forwards, it spells the same. Zero Res.
Zero Res.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the first coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical, They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, American-Electrical.com.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. I think I'm some kind of football prophet.
Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Taylor Dahl, RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus has the rest of the week off, but have no fear, Dahlia Fair from Fair and Farah is here. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Of course.
It's always a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We were just chatting about our new studios a little bit. You like that?
Yes, it's great. It's a great upgrade.
Yes, we are definitely enjoying it, and especially we get to see the lovely
Sunshine.
live oak trees, and sunshine, absolutely better. All right, so you were telling us how NIL you weren't all that familiar with, but you went down a rabbit hole.
I did. I went a deep rabbit hole on NIL, especially for high schoolers, which I did not know people
Exists.
followed high school players the way that they do. But so just ruling came out for an Ohio. He's supposedly the best wide receiver in the country right now, allowing him to profit on NIL deals as a high schooler.
Because he had to sue in order to get NIL, because certain states don't allow high schoolers to receive compensation.
Yeah, so only 6 don't allow it right now. The rest do, and Florida's actually one of them that allow NIL deals to be had by high schoolers.
When you talk about the process of those bylaws, where does it start? Is it starting with the school board? Is it starting and then going to court if it's not being agreed on? What does that look like right now?
It mainly starts with the students and their parents because you got to think high schoolers are still minors.
Yeah.
So the lawsuits are actually brought by their parents and guardians, which brings up a couple of different legal issues. Because we want to make sure. Because they're minors, the funds will go to the parents. So how do we make sure that money is actually being used for their benefit? Because the students and their families will argue that they need the money for training and for
food, transportation, like all of those things.
Yeah, traveling if they want to travel to different colleges and see those programs. And so it's always tricky because we want to make sure that money is going to the students and their athletes.
So does the parent have to set up some sort of a trust?
So there are regulations as to what kind of deals that the athletes can enter into. Like, for example, in Florida, high school students can't partner with a tobacco company. That makes sense, right? Because we want to make sure that they're partnering with age appropriate.
Makes perfect sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they also have approved advisors in Florida that they have to utilize to make sure that the funds are fair and they're being used for the proper way.
So when we're talking about the Ohio situation, it was not legal in Ohio for the high school athletes to get paid. The judge did a temporary order to be it to be allowed.
Order?
Yeah, I was like, I know. I thought a restraining order was something totally different. But so when it comes to that, depending what happens with these laws, if it's set into place where it's, they make it okay, or if it goes back and reverts to what it was where it's not legal, what happens with this kid's specific case?
Well, so this was interesting in that it didn't just pertain to him, it pertained to all the athletes in Ohio.
And Jameer Brown, by the way, is his name.
Yes, Jameer Brown. And I think he has committed to Ohio State, I believe.
Sounds about right.
Yes, he has committed to Ohio State, and his mom was basically saying that he should earn around $100,000. That's what Ohio State would have given him for this year. But he can't receive that, again, according to the Ohio laws. And she's like, well, we don't want to have to move. That's going to cost us money. But we are missing out on money because we are physically in this state.
Right. I mean, that's an important point, too. Like, are student athletes going to move to different states because their state doesn't allow NIL deals? So I think that's what they're considering, too, in Ohio. If there's a neighboring state that allows it, why wouldn't he just go transfer to that school?
Yeah,
exactly.
And then also, I feel like at that point, then schools will start to push back because they're losing their good college football players because the state's not allowing something, and then they want to get involved in this conversation, I guess, at that point.
Right. It's really interesting. I mean, it kind of reminded me of when I was down my rabbit hole with personal injury, too, because when there's a minor settlement, the more the settlement is for the minor, there's certain restrictions. For example, if a minor does receive a pretty substantial settlement, there may be a guardian ad litem that we have to hire to make sure that the funds are protected.
Yeah.
Maybe order
parents
to be
aren't
in a
just spending
protected
all the
account.
child's funds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it kind of reminded me of that. Like, how do we put in a protected account?
Right. I feel like every NIL deal should be reviewed by an attorney. You mentioned that there are advisors. Are all the advisors attorneys?
You know, I don't know. I would assume so.
Okay.
Or I would hope so, at least. You know, I don't know the answer to that. I know it's their way of protecting from high agent fees.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like an approved list.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially. And so that people, these agents aren't taking advantage of the families as well.
Yeah, because we know agents will do that.
We've talked about it in college in the comparison between the NFL. The agents make like between 5 and 10%, and some of the college agents are making like 20 to 30% from
Wow.
these kids. So imagine that at the high school level, if a high school student and parents aren't knowledgeable about the topic of how much they can be taken advantage of in that route.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting. I mean, you never know how long you're going to be able to play for, so you might as well be able to profit while you can, but I understand the concerns as well.
Yeah, we always talk about like the Tim Tebow's of the world, how much money he would have made while a student athlete, and he would have made money in high school too.
Mhm.
Both Florida and Alabama wanted him in the worst way. He obviously ended up choosing Florida, but if Alabama had paid him more as a high school athlete, he might have gone.
Never went to Florida?
Right, he might have gone to Alabama and or any other school that would have paid him a lot of funds. Yeah. Speaking of Florida, new head coach will be there for next year. Was that welcome news in your household?
Yes, I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm a Gator, so
Exactly.
we're looking for any help we can get right now.
So one of the names that's been mentioned, Taylor and Dahlia, is Clark Lee, who's the head coach at Vanderbilt. So Dahlia's undergrad is Florida.
Oh, yeah, Vandy.
Your Juris Doctorate's from Vanderbilt.
Yes.
So if Florida were to take Vanderbilt's head coach, how would you feel then?
I mean, it's something that I would have never thought about five years ago. But look at Vandy.
I know.
But I don't know if it's all the quarterback.
It's a lot of
Pavia,
Pavia.
Yes.
But there's other talented players, obviously, too. And the defense played really well against LSU. But yeah, I found that fascinating because I watched a lot of that game on Saturday, and I thought about how if Billy Napier was to be fired, because that was before, obviously, he was let go, that one of the potential candidates is from Vanderbilt.
Well, he did a great job with that program, so
He
who
has.
knows?
And when he was first hired, he said at SEC Media Days that he wanted to take Vanderbilt to, obviously the next level. And he even said, I want this to be the best college football program in all of the country. And everyone laughed at him several years ago. And certainly now, I'm not saying Vanderbilt is the best team in the country by any means, but certainly it's a team
He's
that
probably
right now is
laughing
in the
back
college
a
football
little
playoff.
bit, like,
They're
hey,
competitive. They're competitive for the SEC.
which is good.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're talking about the SEC.
For sure.
Absolutely. What's interesting about the lawsuit is had we had this conversation a week ago, the judge had not
Ruled
changed
in,
and ruled in the favor of Jameer Brown. And so since we originally thought about it, so if I had asked you this question last week, Dahlia, would you have thought that the judge would rule in his favor, or would you have thought no?
I think so, based off of all the other states setting that kind of precedent, and Ohio being only one of 6.
So the other 5 states, won't people sue them and have the same thing happen?
Possibly. They may be next. Yeah, or they're maybe in the works of it. So that might be where we're headed.
Yeah, certainly. So I talked about college football with you. Should we talk about the Jaguars, or should we skip that for today?
We needed this bye week.
We've been trying to be optimistic today about it. Yesterday, I was very pessimistic about a lot of the things, so we're shifting a little bit.
No, I think this bye week will be good.
Yeah.
It's a little self-reflection,
Sometimes you need a
and we're back
break.
at it.
Think about the things you've done.
Look yourselves in the mirror, fix your penalties, fix the drops, fix the protection, and defense, don't allow a single point by the Raiders because the Chiefs didn't allow them any points either.
They had a hard couple of weeks, and I think after the Chiefs game,
That's
we
true.
were
You
kind of
travel to San Francisco.
Yeah.
You have all that hype for Monday night. Trevor Lawrence, in theory, beats Patrick Mahomes. That's not exactly how it works. It's not head to head, but yeah. And then you have 2 tough NFC West teams in the Seahawks and the Rams. You traveled to London, and yes, we know they went early, and maybe that wasn't the right plan, but in the end, I agree with you. I think the bye week's coming at a perfect time.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the issues and how much of the issues, or if any of the issues, can be solved during the bye week. But I do think it's the perfect time. We've talked about this, even a Brenton Strange injury, a Devin Lloyd injury. Have that week in between to just kind of figure some stuff out, but also get maybe some of these guys back that you haven't had that have helped your team drastically before injury.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Dahlia, what do you have the rest of the week?
Nothing exciting, just work. I wish I had more to offer for the rest of the week, but just work.
That is all good. Work during bye week. All right, we've got more to do on the other side, including some more college football. It is Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Play-by-play just makes everyday life better.
I did not
see this one coming.
Get the most play-by-play on 1010XL, Jacksonville's play-by-play sports radio.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
Helmets and heels.
Backed by Green Law Group on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here for South State Bank. At South State, they believe strong relationships build strong businesses. That's why they take the time to understand your goals, challenges, and vision, so they can provide solutions tailored to your needs, like they've done for me for years. South State has always been there for our business and our charity. With a team you can trust and a commitment to personalized service, South State Bank is here to be more than your bank. They're your partner in business. Visit southstatebank.com. South State Bank, member FDIC.
I know two brothers whose minds are always in the gutters.
Hi, I'm Tim.
And I'm Kevin.
We are the Good Brothers.
That's good with an E.
From Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
We install 6 and 7-inch seamless gutters, plus we repair and replace roofs, pool enclosures, and super gutters.
We are the Good Brothers, veteran-owned and local.
Visit goodbrothersroofsandgutters.com.
License number CCC 1334384.
Good Brothers Roofs and Gutters.
Frank Frangie here. Bono's Pit Barbecue has been serving up legendary barbecue on the First Coast for over 75 years. And this month only, Bono's has loaded barbecue tater tots. That smoked pulled pork on top of tater tots with melted cheddar cheese sauce. You won't find this anywhere else. And with 18 Bonos around town, there's always one nearby. You can see all the locations at bonosbarbecue.com. Remember, the loaded barbecue tater tots are served for a limited time only, so don't miss out. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple of years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Frank Frangie here. Looking for a dealership that makes car buying easy? Let me tell you why Nimnick Buick GMC is the place to shop. At Nimnick, you'll find unbeatable prices, a huge selection of Buicks and GMCs, plus flexible financing that works around your budget. Whether it's a new SUV, a work-ready truck, or a certified pre-owned, they've got you covered. They back it up with trusted service and transparent deals. Don't wait. Shop 24/7 online at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit the showroom off Phillips Highway. GMC, we are professional grade.
Northeast Florida Auto, Power Sports, and RV dealers. Tom McMahon is here for Dealer Connect. The nation's #1 AI conference for dealers is coming to Jacksonville October 29th and 30th at the Marriott Sawgrass in Ponte Vedra Beach. It's 2 days of tackling the future of AI in automotive with some of the industry's biggest names. Keynote speaker, Hall of Famer Joe Theismann will autograph items to benefit the Tom Coughlin J Fund. Get tickets now at DealerConnect2025.com. That's DealerConnect2025.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
One of the things that, and I know it's always going to be mixed, we're getting multiple texts on the text line brought to you by Lifetime Enclosures about NIL, and immediately their thoughts on, and a lot of them say NIL has ruined collegiate football, and now it's going to ruin high school football, and there's always going to be that side. I've always been in the world of, I don't mind college players getting paid. I really don't. I think that for a lot of them, they don't have time for anything else. If you are a student already, that's hard enough if you are actually going to school and doing classes and having to make good grades. And for some people, it's more difficult than others.
Wait,
but
pause, sorry. Do you want them to be paid by the school, by the companies, which is what NIL was originally intended for, or do you not care at all?
And that's what I don't think I have a preference on that. That may change within the next few years as all of these new things are coming about. But I do think that that part doesn't bother me, them making money. I do think there needs to be limits. I do think there needs to be contracts. I don't think that a student athlete that's never played a snap in college football should automatically being told they're making multi-million dollars. I just don't think those things should be the case. But I do think it doesn't bother me that they can get paid, because I do think if you are a full-time football player and a full-time student, most of the time you don't really have much other time to go and make money in other ways. And so there's things you've got to pay for. Not everybody has families that can help them through those. I was someone who didn't. College was hard for me to get through because I had to work full time and do that. And when you have that amount of responsibility, sometimes school gets you're not focusing on school as much, or vice versa. And so I do think that it's good and there's positive things in this, but I do think they have to find a way to start to moderate some things, because I can see this. It's already getting crazy, and I see it getting crazier.
Yeah, it's interesting as it evolves. Will we see fewer NIL deals now that the schools are eventually going to have to pay? And so therefore, will the boosters' money, instead of going into the collective, will that turn and shift more towards back to the facilities and things to upgrade the school? But it will be, I feel like, let me rephrase. I don't think we'll see another Jaden Rashada type of thing again, or another Nico Iamaleava thing again. I don't think that schools will offer $8 million to a player that's never played for them before, and then potentially even renege on that. But in the terms of Jaden Rashada or an Iamaleava, where he was already making a lot of money and then decided to leave. Like, I think those high-profile ones have taught, or I hope that they've taught all the different players in the system, this is not how it's supposed to go. And look, I'm all for them getting paid, absolutely, because they are making these schools tons
a lot
of money, right?
Yeah.
So absolutely. But like we talked about yesterday or the day before, I think they should be incentive-laden contracts. So you have to prove and perform in order to make X amount of this bonus.
Yeah.
And then obviously the better you do, if your team makes the college football playoff, everybody gets a bonus. Yeah. Because the coaches are, so
why not
the players should too. Yeah. But I don't know that millions is necessarily, I mean, there are certain players in college football right now, like a Diego Pavia, who is making his school millions for sure. But most of them, I don't think that they're able to bring in that type of revenue for their school. All right, so let's get it to Florida and Florida State, obviously two of the teams in this state that are not necessarily having the best of seasons. Florida, obviously, like we talked about, every show has talked about, fired Billy Napier, and a lot of Gators fans are excited about Lane Kiffin. So After Dark, Hacker had on Brad Logan, who covers Ole Miss closely. He had him on and asked him about what he thinks Lane Kiffin will decide to do.
Right now, at 2:55 as we record Central Time, I think so, yes. I believe the university is going to do what they need to do financially. I think they're going to take care of his staff and the NIL. And I think at the end of the day, Lane Kiffin is able to run his program just like he wants to, with nobody over his back, exactly what he wants to, and a great administration to work for, everybody working in concert. I think he stays at Ole Miss.
And so we were talking about earlier, is Florida that much better of a job than Ole Miss? We'll see. I feel like certainly, even if Lane Kiffin decides to stay at Ole Miss, Florida can still get a great next head football coach. Potentially. They also could hire another guy that only is there for 4 years and then, or less, fewer. And I saw a really interesting article earlier too, Taylor, about former head coaches, including Mike Krzyzewski. And they were saying how early in their careers, it didn't go according to plan, and they would never have had the success they had later. Frank Beamer also was one of these coaches, if they didn't have an AD and a fan base that was a little bit more patient with them. And so that whole conversation is going to be fascinating.
Yeah, and also for Florida, does that factor into coaching decisions too? Because Florida is known as maybe not a very patient fan base. Also,
like Alabama's not a patient fan base either. Ohio State wanted to fire Ryan Day. They're not a patient fan base either. I get so frustrated when people are like, Florida's a toxic fan base. I'm like, did you not see what these other schools were wanting to do? Like, I mean, oh, by the way, Michigan wanted to fire Harbaugh too.
We don't live in a patient world, and that's what it is. Nobody is very patient. I do think there's there's lower standards for other programs that may look like patience is what I feel like it is.
Yeah,
because
that's just because they're not used to winning.
Yeah, and it's or the level is okay, get to a bowl game and that's your standard. Your standard is not national champion. If you're
with 12 teams in the college football playoff, now
college
every
football
school
playoff
expects to get to the college football, not every school, but there are a ton of schools that expect to get to the college football playoff that are nowhere near there, and that's why they're firing their head coaches.
How much is it the factor into the Florida still like not having a president thing too? Like, do you think that factors in
Having
at
an
all
interim
of
president
people?
now, yeah.
In the conversation of I don't even know who's going to be the president of the athletic program that I'm working for. That doesn't at all.
I don't think that necessarily factors in. I think the president of the university pretty much stays out of the sporting or the athletic landscape.
Like direct
in general.
decisions, yeah.
Yeah, but I can understand wanting to know that person would have your back.
Yeah.
But let me take your point and expand it. And as far as, do you think Vanderbilt next year or the next 3 years without Diego Pavia, but do you think Vanderbilt, if they go back to 4 wins, do you think that fan base isn't going to be frustrated, impatient, and want to fire Clark Lee? Indiana, and I understand about the guaranteed money, but Indiana in the next 2 years, if they only win 3 games, you think that fan base isn't going to want to fire Kurt Signetti? Like, no fan base, once they reach the type of success that a lot of these schools are having, are going to be quote unquote patient. Now, I do understand from the coach's perspective, 4 years is enough time.
Yeah.
And 2 years probably isn't enough time unless it's just an unmitigated disaster, like Willie Taggart at FSU. Well, speaking of FSU, you FSU fans out there, I feel your pain. Florida gets to be happy in the sense that they get a new head football coach regardless now that Napier's fired. Whereas FSU, Mike Alford, the athletic director, came out this week and said they're evaluating everything, but he's at least supporting Mike Norvell for now. We know that buyout is very expensive. Well, Rick Ballou is not that pleased with Mike Alford and the decision that he had made a while back to give Mike Norvell a contract extension.
It's Mike Norvell. He's a bad coach. Okay? He's a terrible in-game coach. He's a good guy. Bad coach. How in the hell did Mike Alford sign off on an 8-year contract extension? 8 years. It's criminal for a guy who was 3-6 and 5-7 before he went on this little bit of a tear. And look at what he's done since. 2-10 and 3-4. Mike Norvell has lost 9 straight Atlantic Coast Conference games. How in the hell can you lose 9 straight games in this conference? In the Atlantic Coast Conference, you have lost 9 straight games. How does that happen? I'm all ears. Please tell me. 4th time that Mike Norvell's had a 4-game losing streak. I don't think Bobby Bowden had that more than once in his career. And I get it. You can't compare him to Bowden. Well, then why in the hell did you give him an 8-year contract extension? We ain't going to fire him right now. It's under, observation. We'll address it. No kidding, you're not going to fire him right now. You can't afford to fire him. He's there for one reason only. You can't afford to say goodbye to him. What a totally, completely broken program.
I feel Rick's pain because obviously a week ago Billy Napier was still the head coach, and so a lot of the things that Ballou's saying, now Napier didn't get a contract extension, but the terrible in-game coach and why was he still the head coach after what we saw against USF and LSU and Miami and the list goes on, and then Texas A&M obviously as well. But look, I want Noles fans to understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It just may not be in 2026. Like, at some point, if this continues, Norvell will be fired. I just can't guarantee you that it's going to be this year because, that buyout is way too big. And that's the problem with college football contracts for head coaches, that those buyouts deter schools from firing them.
Yeah. Let's also put some verbiage in the coaches' contracts that if you lose 9 straight conference games, you don't get your buyout.
I think that's,
like, let's add something because this is insane.
That's valid.
It's getting out of hand. But I mean, to Rick's credit, he's never been on the Norvell train. Even in the season that was good, he was more so like, I'm shocked this is happening, but credit to Jordan Travis and what he's been able to do with this offense. He's never loved Mike Norvell when it comes to the end-game coaching and in-game decisions and some of those type of things.
Yeah, we used to rip Mike Norvell early on. He lost to teams like Jacksonville State.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that's what you get.
Whatever one it is. I can't even remember.
Which one? Yeah, you get the the recency bias sometimes, and that's what happened, unfortunately, for them after that season, is you forgot how bad it was before the Jordan Travis breakout year and the way that season looked. And it's happened in college football before. It's happened in the NFL where you get tricked a season. A coach does it really good for one season, and then things fall apart, and you're like, wait, what happened? And whether that's a coach getting, the Coach of the Year, which or nominated for Coach of the Year. You've seen those situations come out, and then you've seen, okay, well, in a couple of years later, they're getting fired. And so I think we see that happen. Not all the time, but it happens, and it's unfortunate. But I do think that if we're talking about these contracts and things like that for students of, okay, well, they shouldn't get their money unless they're hitting this, this, and this. I think coaches should be the same thing then. They need to win X amount of games, win your conference, get to a college football playoff. Don't just give somebody $90 million because of what they've done the previous year and a half.
Yeah, now to Cignetti's credit, this is now success with a different quarterback, right? Like he had... and I'm blanking, Curtis Rourke last year, and now he has Fernando Mendoza. And there are other situations like a Jimbo Fisher back in the day. All of his success pretty much came with Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Norvell came with Jordan Travis. You want to be able to see Clark Lee have success without Diego Pavia, right? Like Brent Key.
Prove that it's not the one quarterback.
Exactly. And so when they can do that with multiple quarterbacks, then that's when I do think they should be rewarded. But
$90 million?
I mean,
like, make the contract 90 and guarantee 30. And then say, okay, then more gets guaranteed if you hit X amount of wins again. And it looks like they are this season. So you get it. I'm not taking your money because you're telling me that you're this coach that deserves this, then prove that you deserve it year in and year out.
I totally agree. And that's why that was what came into Lauren's Lane, driven by Moms at the Avenues the other day, is why are these buyouts so inflated? And I understand why they used to be, but let's course correct at this point in time. I don't know who Curt Cignetti's agent is, but whoever it is, obviously, great job for him. And he just had a fat paycheck. All right, we've got one segment to go. We'll give you today's Terminix Pest of the Day. On the other side, you are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels from the Greenlaw Group Studios.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family-owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at StanleyPoolsFL.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
The Golf Club of Southampton has big plans for 2026, renewing the greens plus plenty more. But right now's the time to take advantage of member opportunities before the big renovation. Now until the end of December, you can join and save $1,500 off their initiation fee plus $500 back in a gift card with a 12-month commitment. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Playability for every skill level and a huge practice area to hone your game. Lock in now and enjoy membership privileges at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. You hear my buddies Dan and Jeff talk about that great food at Daly's Dash all the time. Jeff loves that Duval, and Dan loves the Boss. And they're right, both are terrific. But I can tell you they have so many excellent options at Daly's Dash. Salads and flatbreads and tacos and quesadillas, you name it. And of course, those fantastic subs and sandwiches. I just had the Italian sub. It is so good. The thing is, Daly's Dash is really committed to their food and committed to making it perfect for you. Everything is fresh, made to order every time. And there's so many Daly's locations in town, no matter where you are, there's one near you. I love to pop in and grab a sub at lunch, or maybe after a round of golf, or maybe even after calling one of those Jags games. There's never a bad time to stop into Daly's Dash and grab that great, great food. So head there today. Take it from Dan and Jeff, or take it from me. They say it's nicer here. It really is. And the food is delicious. Head to Daly's Dash today.
Hey, life can get a little hectic at times, and no one has time to get hurt, lost wages, injuries that not only hurt, but ones that hinder our success. If you're in this position due to the negligence of another, you deserve to be paid. What's up, Jayville? This is Tom McManus. Injuries suck, and if you get injured, check out Morgan & Morgan, the largest personal injury law firm in the country. 100 offices, over 1,000 lawyers with enough firepower to handle any and all personal injury cases that you may be dealing with. And they make filing a claim easy and don't get paid unless you do. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Visit forthepeople.com or hit Pound Law from your cell. Pound Law, that's all.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold has recently hit an all-time high at over $3,600 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more value at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Bring your marketing to the next level with 3D Digital, your local video production and digital marketing agency that specializes in ensuring your brand story is seen, heard, and remembered. Our award-winning team creates professional content that will be launched across multiple platforms to precisely target your audience. Call us at 904-712-4004 or visit 3ddigital.com to define, design, and deliver exceptional results for your business.
October means Brakes for Breast at Expert Automotive, who's teamed up with TechNet so you can get or give $40 and help us put the brakes on breast cancer. The entire month of October, schedule a brake job at Expert Automotive on St. John's Bluff, and Expert will match TechNet's $40 give or get, giving $80 back to you or Brakes for Breast to put the brakes on breast cancer. Book online at expertautojacks.com. Visit us at St. John's Bluff or call 374-3373. Help Expert Automotive put the brakes on breast cancer.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Tom McManus has the rest of the week off. He'll be back with us on Monday. Time now for today's Terminix Pest of the Day, as always brought to you by our friends at Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com. They take care of Everbank Stadium, ViStar Ballpark, ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, and all of your favorite event venues around town. And they take care of any pest issues we have at our house. Just had some small ants last week. They knocked those out, so we don't have to worry about that whatsoever. So the pest of the day, this falls into RJ's lane because it's in the NBA. Kevin Durant, who got booed last night, booed back at fans and said, boo you too, MFer. Like, if you want to boo back at the fan, whatever.
Boo you too.
But do you have to throw the MFer in there? Like, I feel like that's a bit
like some
aggressive.
people do.
Yeah, some people absolutely do. And I know some people, they cuss in every other word, and that's perfectly fine. But I just found that to be a bit silly. Like, you can't let them show you that they're bothering you. You have to have tougher skin than that. But I guess we know KD does not have tougher skin than that because he's had a burner X Twitter account in the past trying to defend himself.
I mean, yeah, that's definitely, if I could have guessed the quote that, and I didn't know, and I was just like, you were like, Taylor, guess what he said back to the fans? It would be something along those lines that I probably would have said. RJ, when you're talking about, speaking of last night, that Thunder Rockets game, what were your feelings towards that game as it was happening?
Warmed my heart in ways I cannot express. The NBA is officially back. The Super Bowl has been played. The World Series, we do not care. To see the NBA back on NBC, I think for that to be your first game back after 2002 was the last time that we had a game on NBC. So
wow, it's been that long.
Yeah, so a 23-year hiatus. Yeah, I mean, a great.
And Michael Jordan was on the broadcast.
Michael Jordan was a special contributor. Which I thought that it was going to be more of Michael Jordan in studio saying like, maybe like once a month, like I'll come on and do something. I think he's just going to say, hey, I'm much better than all the rest of these guys in the NBA. That's how it almost came off.
As he should.
Off to me. I mean, for him to say he still loves the game the way in which he does, that's incredible just to see a guy at his age say, listen, I still love the game. If I could take a magic pill and do it all over again, I would. Or if I could take a magic pill and still play basketball instead of popping my Achilles.
That's so crazy. He doesn't even dribble a basketball.
Yeah, I mean, for the reason in which he said it, in terms of, and I think a lot of great players have done it when he just says, hey, listen, in the prime of your career, I mean, you have really no time for family, friends, social life, doing all that other stuff. So, I sacrificed all that to accomplish what I did. So now I'm going to take the rest of my time to spend with family. So I really haven't played any sort of basketball in years outside of him shooting a free throw at the Ryder Cup when he rented a house. So, I mean, for the NBA to be back, I mean, everybody knows my steez. This is Christmas to me. So, great first game, a double overtime game.
And Heat Magic tonight. Who wins that one?
I mean, they played twice during the preseason. I really like what Orlando has done this offseason with the acquisitions of Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones. I think they got really two stellar draft picks that both are going to help them win games in Noah Pinda and Jace Richardson, the son of former NBA star Jason Richardson. So I think both of those guys are going to do very well. Seems like Miami's in this funky place. The future of Bam Adebayo, you really don't understand that. You signed Norman Powell to a big deal. Why? I don't know. So I have Orlando winning this one, to be quite honest with you. But no, I think two very good Florida teams who have a healthy rivalry against one another. So definitely excited to see how Orlando is going to start this season, because I feel a lot of basketball heads and basketball analysts are saying this is the team to watch out for. Granted, we said that last year, and then you had back-to-back oblique injuries to Juan Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner, your two cornerstones. So, here's to a clean bill of health and hopefully an opening night win.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing to get to before we get out of here, Tony Vitello, the head coach of the Tennessee baseball team. It was rumored a few days ago that he would be leaving Tennessee to take the Giants job, and that is the case. He is leaving.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him, but also good for the University of Florida's baseball team,
Tennessee.
who now doesn't have to deal with Tony Vitello, because clearly I think he'll be a good manager. But it's interesting, you don't normally see someone go straight from college
that's
to
big
the
jump.
pros. Absolutely. All right, let's say hello to the Frangie Show.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnik. Nimnik Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnik Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
Hey, first and foremost, I love the quarterback draft. I will tell you, I was screaming in my car, Jalen Hurts. Why is no one taking Jalen Hurts? Did y'all forget about Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
I almost texted the three of you. But
I was
very
happy
selected.
to scoop him up. Yeah.
I thought you might be.
Yeah.
So I feel like your team would be good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all pretty loaded. But yeah, it was a fun exercise just to kind of get a sense in general about the state of the quarterback play in the NFL, but also where does your guy fit in?
Absolutely.
And expensive and mediocre is not going to fly for long.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's early and he's got plenty of time, but yeah, I mean, he went 19th in our draft. So, and again, you're not going to take Stafford, you're not going to take Rodgers. It was if you were building a franchise today, who would you take? So obviously you're not going to take guys with a year or two left. But
by the way, I know you would take Stafford over Trevor for the rest of this season and maybe next season. Would you take Aaron Rodgers over Trevor for the rest of this season and next season?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were having the conversation. This is very super hypothetical, but because of the James Gladstone coming from the Rams and what they did with the Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff trade, we were saying, is there a comparison now? If James Gladstone was I'm going to trade Trevor Lawrence for a veteran quarterback, but that has 5+ years that could win now, is that veteran quarterback in the league right now?
I've heard Tua, but I can't see that happening. No. Yeah, so I
would have Trevor over Tua.
Yeah, so I don't.
Dak, is that the maybe?
I mean, if you're Dallas, you got to be happy. He's playing. What is he? 16 touchdowns, 3 picks this year, and he's 31, so he could still play for Dallas for another 6-7 years. So
it's not Baker Mayfield.
No,
it's not Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's you have to sort of look at the guys that are struggling, like Kyler Murray, but I don't think that does the Jaguars any good. I think if and hopefully Trevor turns around, plays better the longer he's with Liam, and next year is going to be really the pivotal year. I would think if they have to get into solutions, it'll be like use a 4th round pick on a quarterback that you can develop over a couple of years. These guys are showing a pretty good eye for talent in the mid-late rounds, and it will be a deep class. It's been kind of a disappointing class, so that may actually play into their favor a bit.
Yeah, I threw out Diego Pavia, like a guy that's a gamer. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be fantastic in the NFL per se, but he has a high football IQ and he wins.
It'd be fun to see. So
at least give us some competition.
Yeah. So coming up on the Frangie Show again, Ryan O'Halloran will be with me since Frank is on vacation. But Ryan just yesterday met with Liam Cohen one-on-one for like 30 minutes, and has a fantastic. It's a 2-part story, but the first part is coming out today. So we're going to talk about. But Liam kind of went through what he told the team, the details of the video presentation that he gave the team, and really gave Ryan O'Halloran some great access and some great information. I think Jaguar fans are going to really enjoy it. So we'll get to that pretty much right out of the gate. Probably in our second segment, we'll dive into all of that. So lots of good Jaguar stuff coming up on the Frangie Show, and we'll also do the State Farm College Football Report at 5:15, talking Gators, Knowles, and Canes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for all that. That's really good stuff.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right. There he goes. That'll do it for us today. For Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, for the Vacationing Tom McManus, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you tomorrow. No Jaguars programming because it is the bye week, so we will be here 2 to 4 tomorrow on 1010XL 92.5 FM.